host, Andrew Donald, here as we do usually on Thursday mornings. We link with the Satis police station. As a matter of fact, for the past two Thursdays, we have not been able to link up with the Satis police station, but today, Thursday, we have been able to link with one. So let me get started. Good morning to you, Inspector Charles. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir, and good morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning, sir, and good morning to Real FM listeners at home and abroad.
Okay, I'm working with my guy Dougal here. Good morning, Inspector. Are you hearing me?
Good morning. I'm hearing you very low. Um,
Having a bit of bother raising your audio in here. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, Dougal, can you tell me what is the problem? All right,
Good morning, sir. I'm hearing you about far.
In a minute. Just hold on one second. We're gonna come to you to bring up your voice in a minute. You have the genius right here. Okay. And we as we continue in the morning time. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Okay,
Are you hearing me?
the impression that you are hearing me nice and loud and clear, but I am not hearing you. So I'm gonna do it this other
I'm
way.
hearing you, but I'm hearing you
I don't know why, but
distant.
let's see if we can do it this way. You need to. All right, let's do it this other way. And give me 1 second, and everything will be, as they say, okay. All right, so you need to take this call, and we will see how we work things here. Take this call. We'll see how things work
Yes, sir.
here at this particular point in time. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Right, good. So you're hearing me, and I'm seeing you, and you're seeing me, and we're going to be talking to each other, right?
Yes.
Good. So how are you doing this morning, Inspector Charles?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine.
A little bit off camera, if you can move
Yeah.
your
I'm trying to
good,
see where.
good. That's brilliant right
Right.
there.
Great.
That's brilliant
Yes.
right there. So you're doing just fine. How was the well? 2 weeks have gone by, sir, and we have not been able to link. What's up with that?
Yeah. Well, you see, sometimes we do get all up and busy, and sometimes we do already have the time to actually to create that link, But
Well, it's nice to have you this morning, and I know usually you have a number of topics that you would like to discuss. And what's it going to be this morning?
this morning, we want to discuss stock trespass. Yeah. In my company is WPC McGillivray. And she together we are going to discuss stock trespass.
Okay, so let's start here. What is stock trespass?
All right. Basically, it's has to do with trespass on lands by animals.
And do you find that being a serious problem throughout our agriculture district here in St. Patrick?
Yes, it is a very serious problem. Every week we have several reports, where animals would have, you know, enter person's property and cause destruction to the crops and so on. Yes, we do. We do. We do. And well, actually, the Stock Transfers Act is basically most of the provisions there are civil, right? And there are a few components of criminal offenses there also. Um, one of the problems we've been having is that most of the farmers they doesn't want to have that time where they go to court. Sometimes you see it's like time wasting. So most of the time you hear they request warning and so on. But the Stock Transfers Act clearly makes provision for the recovery of damages caused by animals. However, there are certain, protocols that has to follow because most of the offenses there are not criminal offenses where the police can lay the charge. The charges will have to be laid in a similar capacity. But once animal has caused damage to your property, you can legally demand compensation. Well, we attend to the reports. We visit the farms and we looked at the damages that is caused. We normally will take photographs and we will normally ask the persons to do an evaluation of the crops that was damaged. Sometimes the owner of the animals are known and sometimes they are unknown. So most of the time, if the owners of the animals are known, we do engagement and see how we could mitigate the whole issue of compensation. Some persons will agree to pay compensation and others would not. In the case where a person disagrees to pay compensation, that's where the owner of the land now has to take the matter to court to retrieve that compensation for the trespass of the animals and the damage that would have been caused to their crops. Sometimes if that can be accounted for, most sometimes persons do own lands, but sometimes they are very careless with how they secure the animals. Some persons just want to let the animals on the loose, and roam. And some persons indiscriminately will tie the animals in person's property. The federalism team is 100% involved. 100% involved because stock trespass, we kind of link it with the whole aspect of the federalism, and so they are 100% involved, and giving the assistance to the farmers, especially those who have been affected by those animals. Well, the River Sally, Battery, the Rosal area, and generally other farming areas, Yeah. Sometimes a person would just inadvertently tie the animal in a person's property. So then they may even tie it close to the road, not checking the length of the rope that the animal has. And so the animal will enter the land and cause damage to crops that persons would have spent, most of them spend monies to, to cultivate and plant. Right. He could do a number of things. And one of the things he should do is try to, if he so desire, impound the animal. He can try and impound the animal. Take the animal into custody if he can, right? And he needs to ensure that he uses all available means and efforts that would cause him to impound the animal, right? If the animal is known and not impounded, he needs to also get in contact with owners of the animal, whether impounded or not, and inform them of the damages that was done. Usually, what happens. Right. Great. Good question. Now, if I'm an impounded animal, the onus is now on that person impounding the animal to ensure that the animal is well taken care of in terms of food and water. If they they fail to take care of the animal, then they could be facing penalties for not ensuring that the animal impounded is well taken care of. Um, yes and no. That's all I can think because you're responsible for the animal. Because and the thing about it, once you impound the animal, you're supposed to inform the owner if known as soon as possible, so he can come get his animal. Of course, with the arrangement to pay the compensation, right? And the Act speaks of certain compensation that can be paid in for animals trespassing. Now, if the owner of the animal is not known, or if the owner is known but he refuses to come for the animal and pay the compensation or the fee that is allotted for the trespass and the damages, then there are certain things that can be done in regards to the animal. Yes, it is. It is very ticklish and it puts a lot of responsibility on the person impounding the animal. Yeah. But I wouldn't say leave it to continue to destroy your crops and so on. The best thing is to try and impound and inform the persons of it so that they can come retrieve the animal. Of course, agreeing to pay the regular compensation that is being allotted for such. the Ministry of Agriculture has a schedule, right? And that is in law as to the cost of bearing and non-bearing plants, right? Um, Over the years, we used to have the agricultural officers visiting farms and doing appraisals of damaged crops and produce a report, and sometimes they are required to appear in court. What have been happening recently in discussions with the extension office of the Ministry of Agriculture is that the officers, because of it, there could be a conflict of interest in terms of they're responsible for attending to all farms, and now they have to go and give evidence against one or two of the farmers. So this sort of pull back from doing those assessments. However, there are persons who are deemed appraisers. Most of them ex-agricultural officers and so on, who have retired and so on, and services can be sought to value those crops. Because what you want is that a person would visit the farm, make a list of what they noticed to be damaged, and put a costing to it based on the schedule. And obviously, a fee for the services is also attached.
who are supposed to be
Yeah,
appraised.
most of them are deemed to be appraisers for such purposes.
It is read, it's 91.9 FM, 91.5 www.therealfmgrenada.com. The time has now moved on to some 28 minutes, and that is before the 10 o'clock hour. Just to let folks know, those of you who believe that you're missing the cricket, yes, you're missing the first hour of the cricket because we decided not to let our program not be heard, meaning the program here today with the folks from the Royal Grenada Police Force, Inspector Charles, representing the Sateas Police Station, and by extension, of course, the Western Division. Inspector, I want to touch a bit. We've touched on that. I want to touch a bit on how well you and your troops were able to handle the past Independence weekend in the most popular place in Grenada, Bathway. How did it go for you, sir?
Andre, it was very challenging. It was very challenging. As we know, Battery has become the choice place for persons to socialize and hang out. And so on Sunday, we had approximately over 3,000 persons converging in Battery. We had a traffic plan in place, and we were stretched for manpower. However, we were able to manage the Battery proper area in terms of the no parking and stuff, and ensure that that area is clear. Persons can enter and leave as they please. We sought to use the number of there are three pastures. We use those as parking lots, and so when the Battery parking lot was filled, and at one point in time we had to block the road and not allow persons to enter, advising them to park in the pastures and so on. But we did have some problems going forward, because what happens is that the areas that are out of our sight, out of our reach, and we're talking about into Rosehill and heading out to River Sally, where we were not able to reach because of our manpower, persons went and parked basically on both sides of the road and so on. And that created a bottleneck and hindered the traffic for a while. But once I was sorted out, the traffic flowed freely. What is important is that It was incident free. We received no reports of any violence, any altercations, and so on. We had to engage persons throughout the day to ensure that no amplified music were played, because to play amplified music you need to have written permission, and so we were, so no amplified music were allowed, and so on. One of the greatest challenge there.
Hold on here, sir. Does that mean amplified music also in vehicles?
Yes, vehicles. Yes, the law says you should have a written permission from the commissioner of police, and so we were able to use that bit of legislation to ensure that persons did not play the amplified music in their vehicles, and so on. And so the entire Sunday was peaceful. Was peaceful.
I heard that you had one accident in that a bike came in contact with a car or something like that. Did that happen in Bathurst, or just a myth?
No, I think that was somewhere out in the same River Sally, going out to the River Sally area where the congestions were. Yeah, we do had a report of that accident in that area. But generally, it was okay. Persons complied with the officers on the ground. At one point in time, persons who intended to come to Battery could not have got to Battery because they couldn't have find park. They could not find park, and so coming through Rosehill, we had to direct them out to the two car parks. And when they got there, most the car parks are filled, so they just had to keep moving. And so it was unfortunate they couldn't come to the area.
Do you think that we have gotten to the stage, because I did see over the past couple of weeks that some work was done. Um, Work here when I say work done, coming from the Rosehill area, some concrete work was done on the roads, and I expect that to continue so that you'll have a complete concrete strip taking us right into Rosehill. So because of that, so would you say that there is a need that it probably be put in the Traffic Act that on Sundays and public holidays alike, that there is a one-way in, one-way out to Bathway, so that folks get accustomed to it? Do you think we might be getting to that
But
stage of the
it
popularity?
it doesn't have to be put into the traffic laws. Normally, on any heightened celebrations, that's what we normally would do to the traffic. We would route it in terms of a one way in, one way out. But again, we do have to have the manpower to man those areas, because persons generally don't actually respect a sign that doesn't have a police close to it and monitor on the road. Or even once they get past the sign, they tend to do whatever they wishes. And so we have a plan in place where that is we have it on paper to be executed in terms of those heightened celebration. Um, Independence, I must say, we expected a lot of people coming into Battery, but we didn't expect the amount that we saw. Yeah, I tell
You
you,
didn't expect the
because
amount that you saw, Chief.
we
That's
knew,
okay.
no, we knew they're gonna come, and
Yes.
so we prepared the plan. We prepared the ground with our cones and our no parking signs. We had our panel van on scene, and so on. Yeah, but I honestly tell you, the amount of people that came in and that wanted to come and couldn't come because they couldn't get a park, was enormous.
You know, but all in all, you would say that your troops complied, and in terms of compliance, the majority of them complied.
Yes, compliance. I tell you, and that's one of the things we were engaging persons and letting them know what is expected of them. And so there was general compliance. On Monday, the crowd was much less, and we anticipated that, because normally when we do the first day real hard, we realize that persons realize, listen, the police is there. We can't do what we want as we want. We need to comply, and so on. And people tend to go elsewhere, elsewhere.
Yesterday on the a program similar to this, Inspector, not sorry, what's his rank now? Kingston, is it ASP Kingston?
Yes, ASP Kingston.
ASP Kingston did indicate that they were about to roll out um, not anything new, but to sort of start to enforce the whole idea of wearing masks, persons wearing their mask in Grenville. Are you preparing to do such, sir, in Satiers?
Well, it has always been our focus in Sotes. The COVID protocol, wearing of masks, sanitization, persons, observing the protocols before they enter into businesses and so on, right? Um, Batway on Sunday was a challenge in relation to that. And we saw it was documented that it will be a challenge because of the amount of persons that were there. And I don't understand why we will always want to feel that we don't have COVID in Grenada, so we could just, not want to wear masks and socialize as we do. But in a beach atmosphere, a beach area, persons eating and drinking and so on, But I still believe that persons could have taken that personal responsibility and wear a mask. I would tell you, basically about 1% of the persons in the area will not wear mask. That wear mask. About 1% wear mask.
Okay,
About
1%.
1%. Yeah, yeah, and that, yeah, and
Really and truly did not.
yeah, yeah.
And
It
that
was it was difficult to enforce, and I tell you that because person might say, why don't you give one person? As soon as you give the first person a ticket, the other person talking about over 3,000 persons in battery. You understand? And even if you give one person a ticket, two persons a ticket, five persons a ticket, why me? Why not that person? And so you don't want to create that kind of chaos in the area, you know. But I think people need to take that responsibility on themselves to protect themselves and protect others. Protect others.
someone just sent a message here and they're saying that they appreciated the policing on Sunday and Monday in Bathway, although, as you said, Monday was not that busy. However, they agreed with you that there is a need for persons to wear their mask, pointing out to also that persons who arrived with buses seems to be the main violators, if I was to put it that way, of the law. Persons not necessarily from the parish, but persons arriving in the parish, they're the ones who seem to be not not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
But the majority of persons that came to Battery over the weekend were not from St. Patrick. The majority. Persons would have come from way down south of the island, and journey through to Battery. And this has always been an issue. Persons feel that they could, just come through the western corridor or the eastern corridor and converge on Battery. And if the area is not policed, it will become very chaotic, and persons will not be able to go in or come out. And we have to realize that there are residents in the area, and you
Might
must.
might we have to start charging a fee to get into Bathway now?
Well, I believe so. I believe for the maintenance of the area, some form of checkpoint should be set up. Not necessarily not by the police, but set up so at least $1, $2 to enter into the area. That will help take care, because one of the things we also noticed that we were able to make the comment even after persons left, and we saw the amount of litter that was all over the place, and, and the amount of bins that are there available for them, and they're not using the bins. So then you have person have to come in now and do the cleaning. So I believe, yes, there should be some form of fee to enter on those occasions.
So we can say, all in all, Bathway for the police was a success on the Independence weekend. But let me ask this before we move on. Um, Not necessarily with Bathway. So, yes, we're moving on. How I know that there are environmental health wardens in St. Patrick. Are they working along, or do they work along with the police in relation to getting certain things done? Are you seeing them? Are you feeling them? Are you able to contact them? Are they able to reach out to you and your team in terms of what they do as a job?
Yes. I must say there's a good working relationship between those wardens and the police at Sotes. From time to time, we do have conversations. From time to time, they would bring certain things to our attention, and we also, from time to time, would bring things to their attention. What will have happen is that we have a working relationship. That certain times when we go out into the community, we invite them to join with the police and partner with us, and they are always excited and willing to participate with us going into the communities where we can speak to persons, about different issues and so on. It's a very good working relationship. I think they are doing a good job.
All right, I know you usually say you end it by giving food hampers to different people in different communities. Are you able to sustain? Are you still going to be doing it in 2021, visiting this different communities, having walkabouts like you did in places like Montreach and Chantimel and so on? Are you going to be doing that in 2021, Inspector?
Of course, Andre. Community policing is our focus into 2021 and beyond. And those community walkthroughs, we are continuing with them throughout this year. We already had one for the month of January. We're going to have one again for the month of February going forward, one per month. But what we have added to our community policing strategy is a village patrol, where once a week now we go into the smaller villages, right?
Okay.
We go into the smaller villages. So every week the police will be going into the smaller villages where we talk to people and engage with them.
What
Um,
what would you say has been the response from the citizens in the different villages that you have visited and that you have walked about? What has been the response from the people?
Generally, we get good response from them because when we go out there, we listen to them. We ask them, tell us where we are going wrong. Tell us how best we can serve them, right? And so we get a lot of feedback from them. And so generally, they are very receptive to the police. Obviously, there are times where you meet one or two odd ones that doesn't want to actually listen or hear the police, and that's understandable. We understand that. But very important, in our last community walkthrough, which we done in the Montreal area, I remember, I personally approached an elderly lady. She was sitting in a veranda to have a conversation with her, and while speaking to her, she was able to say, "You were on Real FM the other day." You understand? And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I was on Real FM." She said, "Yes, I heard you. You all are doing a good job." So you see, people are listening Real FM within the villages, and they're hearing what is happening, and
Might,
so on.
might I say to you, sir? You said you were in the Montreux area.
Yes,
Well, that's where I was born in Montreach. So of course they have a right to listen. This is their radio station.
great, great, great. But I think Real FM is doing a great job in disseminating information and touching base with the people, and
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you. Thank you. We
I
really
commend
we,
them for that.
we just wish we can do more because we are really belonging to the people. We are of the people and belonging to the people, especially the people in the rural areas. And we're not just talking St. Patrick here. We're talking about the people in Carriacou, Pd Martinique. We're talking about the people in the parish of St. Andrew, in the parish of St. Mark. We're talking about people in what I will call Northern St. David's. We belong to them. We are here for them, and we're the voice of the people. So I mean, we don't have a choice. A young man, somebody just called a short while ago, and said, "Hey, we have cricket today. What now? Little bringing the cricket out." And he said, "Hey, we've got the police today, so we're gonna do the police, and then we're gonna go to the cricket." And that is how
Yeah,
we know that we're being appreciated by the people. But
that is so. Yes,
I see a
yes,
young lady on your shoulder right there. Who is she?
yes. That's uh Councilor McGilvery. She's from the island of Carriacou, and she took the opportunity to sit in on the program with me today. And so I would ask her to greet the listening public of Real FM.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Miss McGilvery. How are you doing?
I'm quite fine.
Good job, Master.
If you can take the mask off a bit,
Yes.
good. Um, McGilvery, Caribou, Inspector Charles, would that be Mr. What did he retire as? Did he retire as
I
a
first
security
McGilvery.
superintendent?
ASP.
ASP McGilvery.
I first McGilvery.
Right. Are you related to him?
Some sort.
Sort of. Well, he was a good police, so I trust you would be a good police also. What
I
number
would be an
is
excellent
it?
police.
Is it 32?
Yes.
Your number
Yes,
is
32.
okay. I'm not hearing you. Inspector, you want to move the phone over to her? So, well, yeah.
Listening on that and
Right. So she can. Yeah. There you are. So I trust you're there. You're hearing me now.
I'm hearing you quite better.
Good. Which part of Carrick were you from?
Bellevue South.
Oh, we seem to have lost that caller here because we just called you back. We're calling you back right now because the call would have dropped out. So we calling you back right now. Right. I think you're hearing me now.
Yes.
Are you hearing me?
Hello?
no.
Hello?
Maybe if you speak, I'll hear you. Yes, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Right, beautiful. I'm hearing you. So I was asking, which part of Carrick were you from?
Bellevue South.
Bellevue South. And how long have you been a police officer now?
A year and some months.
Oh, nice to have you on board.
Thank you.
No, I'm not a police, but I'm kind of like to behave sometimes like if I'm a police. But
You should join us.
I should join you.
Yes.
If I had to join, it would have been since Inspector Charles joined, which was many, many years ago. If I had to join, but I guess he went on to that. I've gone on to different things that you can see. So, how is it for you in St. Patrick's? How are you doing?
I'm doing quite fine. I must say I love St. Patrick's. It's a really nice place.
Well, you must love it. You can just jump in the sea and swim to Carrick. It's not far.
I'm not that quite a good swimmer.
Oh, you're not a good swimmer. So, now that you've been placed in St. Patrick, what do you find? You said it's a nice place and one understands that. But what do you find most interesting about St. Patrick?
The way the community cooperates with the police.
You think that's good?
Yes, it's really good.
Well, that's a plus for us, and we really do appreciate that. And were you on the job on the beat on Sunday in Bathway?
Yes, I will.
Do you love Bathway?
Yes, it's not bad.
Do you think it's the most beautiful beach in Grenada?
But it is a beautiful beach.
I said, do you think it's the most beautiful one?
I cannot answer to that as yet.
You
I haven't visited all the beaches in Grenada as yet.
But there's none other than Bathway. Bathway is the most beautiful beach in Grenada. You better believe that. I mean, I know there are a couple of nice beaches in Carrick and Pitimani.
Of course.
Oh, yes, I know that. But nonetheless, Bathway is the most beautiful one. But it's nice to have you, Miss McGilvery. It's really nice, and I hope that the time you spend in St. Patrick would contribute to your police life, and we're happy to have you, and we thank you for your service.
Okay, thank you for having me here too.
All right, then have a wonderful day. Let me speak to your boss again so that we can we can wrap up there. You there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good day.
Everybody see you smiling. Everybody see you smiling.
Yes, sir.
Nice young officer you have there with you, sir.
Yes, has a lot of potential, and once you continue on that path, she's gonna be a fine officer in the making.
I've never asked you this question before. You've been in Sateas now how long, sir?
So,
This tenure?
about 7 months.
About seven months. What has been your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge is bringing the community together. I'm building that support, and we have made tremendous strides in that area. One of the biggest challenges was to change the face of policing in St. Patrick's. Where we engage the community and take the policing out to the villages, out to the community, out to the man on the street. As I normally tell them, I say, you all don't come to us, so we come into you all. Talk to us.
And if you was to given the opportunity, sir, if you were given the opportunity today to do one thing in St. Patrick, what would that be?
Traffic management, Lower Main Street. That's one of our greatest challenge.
How do you think you can solve that problem?
We have two options on the table, right? Which we have started discussing. One of the options is to reroute the traffic and make it a one-way traffic. That we know is going to take a lot and cause a lot of resistance because some people don't like change. The other one is the capping of the drains in Lower Main Street, from by the supermarket of Mr. Lyle saying right back down to the junction. We believe that if we get the Ministry of Works to cap those drains, the road will become significantly wider and would be able to accommodate the flow of traffic from both directions. But at the same time, you have persons who are attending to the supermarkets be able to park and attend to the supermarkets.
Would you agree with me, sir, if I was to say to you that a lot of the people who are supposed to be using the limited parking space that we have do not use it and thus poses a serious problem in the town?
Yeah, because we advise persons to use the entrance to the breakwater, right? To find alternative parking. But some persons they find they don't want to go there. But when you go down that road there, there's a lot of parking because accommodate almost 100 vehicles. So we advise persons, find alternative parking, use the breakwater area, and so on. What we realize, Andrew, is that persons don't like to walk. If I'm going to the bank, I want to park exactly in front of the bank. If I'm going to pay a bill by Nawasa, I want to park in front of Nawasa. But we cannot allow these things to continue as we go along. We have a significantly amount of vehicles on our roads now. And also we have a number more people using the roads. And so persons have to get it into the system where, listen, I need to park in an area that it doesn't create obstruction to other traffic or other road users.
Am I to believe, sir, that you will start rolling out, not that you probably haven't done it already, but start rolling out in a more forceful fashion your ticket books?
Yes. And the whole idea is not about charging person, but if we have to, we will charge persons, right? Because we believe that at some point in time, the enforcement has to take place, and if that's the way we're gonna get people to cooperate, then we have no problems in doing so. We have no problems in issuing fixed penalty tickets for persons who tend to violate the law. We don't want to issue tickets. We prefer people to comply. But then if you don't comply, obviously, you will be ticketed.
Inspector Charles, yourself and Officer McGilvery, I want to thank you very much for being a part of the program this morning. A couple of hitches, but of course, we believe that we have sorted some of them out, and we hope to be better able to serve you next week, Thursday, God's willing. I urge you guys to take care, have fun while you do our work, because it's our work you're doing, so have fun while you do our work, and take care of yourself and your troops. Oh, by the way, before you run, quickly, last week you had an emulation, and you gave out wine. I didn't get any wine. How come?
Andre, I came here in June of 2020, and I met a group of officers who, accepted me as a new boss, and and cooperated with me to ensure that the plans that I brought to Sates were executed, and they would have gone above and beyond. Many a times they actually lose their time off. Many a times, working extra hours. And so I thought that the best I could have done for them is to emulate them And what I did is that I came up with a secret award ceremony for them. They were not aware of what is going to happen. So we prepared certificates of commendation along with a bottle of wine just to show appreciation. And so I got them at the station the morning, still wanting to know what is happening. And when I assembled everybody that morning and I addressed them, I said, the reason why you all are here is because I appreciated the work that you all were doing and the support that you all has given to me. And therefore, it's my way of giving back to you all by awarding you with a certificate of commendation and a bottle of wine. And everybody take a deep breath because up to this point in time, they was wondering why was I asking them to be at this to be there.
Who was getting charged?
Yes, and that, and that's the kind of cooperation. I asked them. I asked them to be at the station. I said, "Who on pass need to come back to the station and be in uniform for 10 o'clock?" And they didn't know what they were coming for, but they obeyed. They complied. And that's the kind of we have a very good bunch of people at Sotez, committed, united, and hard-working officers.
Well,
Well,
And I want to publicly commend them for that.
I said to you, I would like you to send down an officer, maybe Officer McGill Green, because Mr. Sylvan of the pharmacy just down on Main Street here, the one close to the Snagit on the hill, he would have given us Real FM here some pens and quite a bit. So if you send down an officer in a couple of minutes, I'll be able to give you some pens, so at least you can give a pen to each officer. And how many officers do you have there, sir?
We have approximately 33 officers on record.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope I have enough to send 33. If I don't have enough to send 33, I know Mr. Sylvan is listening, so he will
Yes,
send
he's a regular
he will
listener to the
send you the
station.
rest.
Yes, thank
He
you.
will send you the rest. So I'll send you some, and if it's not enough, Mr. Sylvan will send you the rest. And it's just our way in St. Patrick's of saying, hey, police officers, don't use that pen to write us a ticket. Take care, Glenn.
Thank you. God bless. Yeah.
Okay,
Bless.
good now. Bye-bye.
it's
It's real. It's 91.9, 91.5
Oh Lord.
Grenada.com. Good morning, Grenada. Carrick. Good
Yes,
morning,
yes.
PG Maltese.
Okay.
good morning to friends in the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, wherever you are at this time. News that is going to be next, and after the news, we will be joining our commentators in Antigua for cricket, lovely cricket. Do stay with us.
Triple M. Informative.